Hey guys, welcome back to Tech with Devang. This is your host, mentor, and friend Devang Sharma, a software development engineer at Cisco. Before starting today's video, I just want to remind that the latest admission batches are open for Launchpad, and in case if you have not registered, do register it immediately. For those who don't know about Launchpad, Launchpad is a wonderful initiative started by Newton School for those who want to learn coding from scratch. As you can see, you can get the free learning at your own pace and zero setup is required from your end. Not just that, it will give you a doubt solving platform and you will get a certificate of completion. It has plenty of resources that are available there, starting from beginner's guide to Java and OOPS, Python course, DS and Algo in Java, CPP, React.js, JavaScript, real world projects in Python, DBMS and SQL, Node.js, and everything contained that's required for your technical knowledge. In addition to that, the languages courses are available as well. You can see courses both in English and Hindi. To give you an idea about Newton School is one of the best Edtech platforms across the country, and it prepares you for your career in tech. Newton School has courses specifically designed for professionals and also for women in tech as well as for freshers. So it prepares you for 6 months starting from the very scratch level to amazing full stack developers at the end of 6 months. And not just that, Newton School has a network of more than 300 wonderful companies which hire from Newton School. So it makes sure that all the students are placed in one of the best companies across the country. And here's not the best part. The best part is that it follows a pay after placement program. So you absolutely have to pay nothing to Newton School until and unless you get a place at a minimum salary of 5 lakh rupees. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the description. Apply today. With that being said, let's start the video. So guys, let's start our complete Java freshman to professional developer series. This series is for freshmen, junior developers as well as senior developers. There's everything for everyone in this series. We'll start from the basic introduction of how JVM, JDK and JRE works to the medium level concepts like multi-threading, stream APIs and synchronization to the most advanced concept like stream APIs, anonymous classes and Spring Boot and Hibernate using microservices. So आज की वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे about type of variables in Java. So we'll start with the local variable, static variable, instance variable, what are its type and what are their use cases. Starting with the definition, what is a variable? A variable is nothing, it's just a container that holds the value when a Java program is executed. If I have to mention in technical terms, it's just the name of the memory location. Any value that you want to store on the memory, right? So that name of that memory location is called variable. That being said, see the example for this picture. I am using a variable integer to store the value 10. So this 10 will be stored in some reserved area. That name of reserved area is called variable. In addition to that, every variable is associated with a data type. If you guys have any problems regarding data type, I have explained about the data types in depth, both primitive and non-primitive in my last video. Do check out the link in the description if you face any issue with it. Let's come to the type of data types. Let's come to the type of variables in Java. So Java has 3 types of variables: local, instance, and static. Let's understand it deeper. What are their use cases, where they are used, what are their scopes, and how they are used. Starting with the local variable first. A local variable is declared inside the body method, and that's why it's called local. As you can see, since it is declared inside the body of the method, its scope is limited to only that method. You can use this variable only within that method, and other methods of the class are not able to access it. Apart from that, a local variable cannot be defined with the keyword static. Coming to the second type of variable, instance variable. So this variable is defined inside the class but not as a part of a body of a method. That is why it is called the instance variable, because its value is instance specific. Now when I say instance, I'm talking about the object of the class, and it is not shared among the instances. Last and very important variable is static variable. Static variable is declared as static because it is used for static context. Now when I say static context, I'm talking about the memory allocation here. So memory allocation for static variable happens only once when the class is loaded in the memory. In addition to that, you can create only a single copy of this variable and it is shared among all the instances of the class. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the types of variables, widening, what is narrowing or typecasting, and what is overflow using live coding. So let's go back to Newton's school ID and try to understand all these different types of variables and how they're implemented in coding. So in this tutorial, we are going to learn about the types of variables, widening, narrowing, which is also called typecasting, and last but not the least, very important, overflow. We are going to understand what all this topic means and how do we implement it using code. So let's start with the coding part. So let me define a variable of integer type and give its value as 50. Right? And let me define a static variable of integer type and give its value as 100. So as you can see, the value Newton here, this type of variable Newton here, this is a local variable. Newton here, this variable is a instance variable. And you can see the keyword static here, it will be shared among all the instances. This is a static variable. Now let's define about what are the local variables. So I explained in the video, local variables are defined inside a method. So we need to define a method here. And let's say another variable, let's use it in integer only, I'm equal to 90. So this variable is a local variable. I hope the difference is clear between the instance variable, the static variable, and the local variable. So types of variables we have completed. Let's move to the next part of widening, narrowing, and overflow. Before that, let's understand how these variables work. So I give value like this. Let's run our program and see the output. As you can see, the value of variable A is 10, the value of variable B is 20, and the value of variable C is A plus B, which is referred by the value of A and B, which is A plus B equal to 20. You get 20 as our output. So you understand how we use variables in Java. Okay, now let's start with very important concept of widening. What does widening means and how we implement it. So in case of a widening, let me take an integer here, right? And let's define a float variable f equal to a. Let me print f here. Let's see the output here, 10.0. Also let's print a as well to see the output. As you can see, a is an integer and f is a float. And you know that float occupies more memory as compared to integer with larger ranges and precision. So this is called widening. This is called widening. I hope the difference is clear. Now moving to the next concept, narrowing. This is a very crucial concept, narrowing and typecasting. So let me define a variable here again, float f equal to As you can see, I'm using a suffix f which denotes that this is a float variable. Now, if I want to declare a variable like this will actually give me an error. This will actually give me an error. The reason being, float occupies large memory as compared to the integer and has more precision. So I cannot just say integer d equal to f2 as I did in the case of float. Because float has a large value, it can occupy a smaller value of integer. But integer being a smaller value cannot occupy the larger value of float. That is why the correct method of doing this typecasting or narrowing is to convert that to integer value first and then you print it. This is called typecasting. So if I print d here, it will not give me any error. As you can see, d does not give me any error. On the other hand, if I do this, let's see if I get an error or not. As I mentioned, it says incompatible types, possible logic conversion. That's why we introduced the concept of typecasting or narrowing. So till now we have covered what are different types of variables, how do we define which variable has which scope. So this is an instance variable, its scope will be within an object only or within an instance only. This is static, so the static scope is shared among all the instances. And this is a local variable, this scope is only inside this curly braces or this method. I hope that makes sense. The last part is about overflow, and it's a very, very interesting concept as well. Let's understand the example of an overflow. So let me give a value integer equal to something like 130 and define a value byte. And let's try to do a type conversion here, a typecasting here. Byte e, and I try to print the value of e. I should get the output as 130, right? Because I made a type conversion of integer to byte. Let's see if I get the output as 130 or not. Okay, let's name it something else. Byte p. Try to print p as well, and let's print the integer. My integer value is e and my byte value is p. Let's see what I get as an output. I should have got 130 and 130, but instead of 130, I get 130 and minus 126. Isn't that strange? What is actually saying here? The answer to this question lies in the ranges. So in the last video, I talked about the ranges of integer and bytes. If you remember, byte is a 8 by 2's complement, right? 8 by 2's complement means its value ranges from minus 2 raised to the power 7 to 2 raised to the power 7 minus 1, which is minus 128 to 127 or plus 127 you can say. So if you see the value 130, it's crossing the range of 127, crossing the range of byte values. That is why it's giving absurd result of minus 126. If I just change it to 115, let's see what is the output now. As you can see, I get the correct output because the range lies in the same range as it is defined. If it goes beyond the range, it will give me absurd values in case of negative values. So I hope that all these four concepts, types of variables, widening, narrowing, and overflow, this is clear to you guys. So we have covered the four concepts, types of variables, how they are used, what is the syntax to use them, what is widening, what is narrowing or typecasting, and what happens in case of an overflow, why overflow happens, and how we can remove the overflow as well. We have seen that using live coding. One more thing guys, if you keep liking the video, make sure you like the video and do subscribe to the channel. Apart from that, share this video as much as possible with your friends so they can be benefited with the knowledge as well. Last but not the least, do not forget to comment your reviews as well as your questions in the comment box. With that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video with another interesting topic. Till then, see you.